Yes, folks, it's Tales from the Jails here with John G. Sutton. I'm going to talk today a little bit about an infamous case concerning a murder that took place not too far from where I'm currently living. It was the Handless corpse case at Eccleston Delph near Chorley. This involved a criminal who was murdered by his associates, and to help hide his identity, his hands were cut off, his face was smashed in, and he was weighted and thrown into a quarry, a water-filled quarry called Eccleston Delph, or Ecky-Delph as it's known locally. And he was dumped at the bottom of Eccleston Delph, about 30 feet under the water. And that was where he was found because divers, sub-aqua divers, training, used the Eccleston Delph to train. And whilst they were down there, they came across, floating just above the bottom, the corpse of the victim. It was subsequently resulted in the arrest of a number of people who were resident just outside Chorley, a place called Moss Side, I believe it was, just outside Chorley, not the Moss Side in Manchester. And they included the leader of the troop, who was going by the name of Terry Sinclair. Now, I first encountered Terry Sinclair at Strangeways Jail when he was held on the segregation unit at the block, because he was obviously a high-risk Category A inmate. And Terry Sinclair was openly offering £1 million to anybody who would get him out of the jail. Now, working at the jail was an Irish prison officer who had connections, and he actually did try, I believe, to get the IRA to spring Terry Sinclair, but they didn't get him out. I believe they tried, and suddenly that prison officer just didn't see him again after that. Who knows what happened? It just went dead quiet, But the thing is, it was a strange lifestyle that he lived, because lived at the time in prison. He was not convicted, or he was convicted awaiting appeal, and so he was treated as if he was not convicted. And he had his meals sent in. He didn't eat the food that was provided by the prison. He had his meals sent in. He also had red wine sent in. He was allowed this in his cell, believe it or not. These were the rules that pertained in 1979, 1980, around about that time. And he was an erudite individual, was Terry Sinclair. He was reading books on art and studying poetry and literature in his cell, of course. But he was generally trying to he was an educated man, but he was improving his education all the time when he was in there. And openly, as I said, stating, £1 million to anybody that can get me out of here. And he used to get visits from his girlfriend, and his girlfriend was a lawyer, I believe, and apparently these visits were quite energetic. You may read into that what you will. Not saying the staff were taking bribes to allow him to fornicate with his lady, but it could have been, couldn't it? Anyway, a couple of years passed after Terry Sinclair had left, and he'd gone to another prison. He went to Winson Green, I believe, and he was reportedly found dead in his cell at 4 a.m. He was found dead by the senior medical officer, and the the governor and the number one chief officer, who were, just by chance, doing an inspection of the prison at 4 a.m. Now, I was a hospital officer for a number of years, and to actually get a doctor, any doctor, to come into the prison after, say, 10 o'clock at night, it was nearly impossible. You would get your instructions over the phone, but they wouldn't appear. So to get the senior medical officer to come into the prison, along with the number one governor and the number one chief officer, all at the same time, and all unexpectedly opening this cell and finding Terry Sinclair dead, and he was cremated within 2 days. That's the story, folks. I mean, you may believe it or not. But as I say, a couple of years later, I was having a party at my house. I lived in Flixton near Urmston at the time. And my brother brought along one of his friends, who was a solicitor in Manchester. And we were talking generally about the prisons, and the name of Terry Sinclair happened to come up. I said, but he's dead. He died in Winston Green Prison. And this solicitor said to me, well, John, he said, if he is dead, he said, I think I might know, because I'm handling his affairs, and I'm his solicitor. He said, but as far as I know, he's still alive. He said, otherwise they would have had to tell me, because there's vast properties in New Zealand and Spain and various other places where he had properties, and he had a yacht, and he was a multi-millionaire, all on the back of drug smuggling. So, the mystery of Terry Sinclair. Google him. Don't just take my word for it. Google that. Do some research. Let me know what you find. Please. I'll be delighted to know. Anyway, I have managed again to lose the song ding. I don't know, God knows where it is. It fell off yesterday. It must be under the desk somewhere. So I won't sing to you, but I'll make a little ding-dong so you can get warning. Ding-dong, song dinger. There you are. I'm not going to sing to you, of course, but you can grab your goat and run for the hills. There you are. This is a poem I'm going to read by one of my favourite poets, by the way. Bong the thing there. This is by Dylan Thomas. It's Fern Hill. It's about when he was a child and he used to stay at his uncle's farm. Or that's part of the story anyway. Fern Hill by Dylan Thomas. Now, as I was young and easy under the apple boughs, about the lilting house and happy as the grass was green, the night above the dingle starry, time let me hail and climb, golden in the heyday of his eyes. And honoured among waggons, I was prince of the apple towns, and once below a time I lordly had the trees and leaves trail with daisies and barley down the rivers of the windfall light. And as I was green and carefree, famous among the barns, about the happy yard and singing as the farm was home, in the sun that is young once only, time let me play and be golden in the mercy of his means. And green and golden I was huntsman and herdsman, the calves sang to my horn, the foxes on the hills barked clear and cold, and the Sabbath rang slowly in the pebbles of the holy streams. All the song long it was running, it was lovely, the hayfields high as the house, the tunes from the chimneys, it was air and playing, lovely and watery, and fire green as grass, and nightly under the simple stars as I rode to sleep, the owls were bearing the farm away. All the moon long I heard, blessed among the stables, the night jars flying with the ricks and the horses flashing into the dark. And then, to awake, and the farm, like a wanderer, white with the dew, come back, the cock on his shoulder. It was all shining, it was Adam and maiden. The sky gathered again, and the sun grew round the very day. So it must have been at the birth of the simple light, in the first spinning place, the spellbound horses walking warm out of the whinnying green stable onto the fields of praise, and honoured among foxes and pheasants by the gay house, under the new-made clouds, and happy as the heart was long, in the sun borne over and over, I ran my heedless ways. My wishes raced through the house high hay, and nothing I cared at my sky-blue trades, that this time allows, in all its tuneful turning, so few and such morning songs, before the children, green and golden, follow him out of grace. Nothing I cared in the lamb-white days, that time would take me up to the swallow-thronged loft by the shadows of my hand, in the moon that is always rising, nor that riding to sleep I should hear him fly with the high fields, and wake to the farm forever fled from the childless land. Oh, as I was young and easy in the mercy of his means, time held me green and dying, though I sang in my chains like the sea. Fernhill by Dylan Thomas. Tales from the Jails with John G. Sutton.